Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Break YXE for Wednesday, June 3rd. Thank you so much. Glad you could be here. Glad you're enjoying, glad you're able here to enjoy the show. We have a gaggle, can you call a group of humans, a gaggle of guests. We have 4 guests today talking about 2 different subjects. We have, first of all, we're going to talk to a couple folks from the U of S Drama Department about their 75th anniversary. Yes, the U of S Drama Department here in Saskatoon turns 75. And believe it or not, it is the oldest drama department in Saskatchewan, in Canada, and dare I say the Commonwealth. And we're going to get into that because when I heard the Commonwealth, I said, wait a minute, what about all those British, Oxford, all those others? But there's a reason why that is. And a lot has to do with the fact that Saskatchewan's very forward thinking. The other interview, around 10:17, we're going to talk to a couple folks from Saskatchewan Housing Initiatives Partnership. We're going to talk to them about the heat warning and heat alert that's been issued for Saskatoon today. They're expecting the temperature to get up to the plus 36 Celsius. That's triggered this heat alert and heat warning from Environment Canada, which means that the city has activated their plan and there are cooling down stations around Saskatoon. But we're going to talk about that and talk about SHIP, Saskatoon Housing Initiatives Partnership role and their role in that alert. So first place to start, let's bring in my first 2 guests. I'm really excited, and we're going to talk to these guys about the U of S Drama. First, we have Rick Boychuk, the U of S Drama Department. Thank you so much for joining us. And Dwayne Brenna is also joining us, both alumni of the Drama Department and both that are, I understand, still kind of working in the field and or retired maybe.
Not retired yet.
Good.
It's an industry that is hard to retire from. It's possible, but it gets in your blood.
Yeah, you'd mentioned before in our pre-chat that I'd done my research. I forgot to check actually to see if that part of whether you're retired or still active. Both of you, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate having you here. As I mentioned in my wandering or meandering preamble, the department turns 75, and it is indeed the oldest in the Commonwealth. And 75 is a long time, but in the history of the Commonwealth, it's not that long. How does a department do that?
Do you want to speak to that, Rick, or should I?
You're the historian. You wrote the book.
I can talk a little bit about that. And I just want to preface this, Ian, by saying that I wasn't Emrys Jones's first student. Contrary to popular belief, I didn't start my career in 1946 when he opened the drama department. But no, Saskatchewan was always a forward-looking province. We had a Saskatchewan Arts Board long before most arts boards had developed in Canada and around the world. Also we had a president of the university who was looking to establish a drama department. Now there were departments in which theater was studied, and certainly in the United States you could get a degree in theater before 1946, and certainly in England you could study at RADA or some of the major drama schools, but not for a degree. So the thing here is that it is the first degree granting drama department in the British Commonwealth, which means we offered a Bachelor of Arts. I think in the first year, Emrys Jones had only 7 classes to teach, and that developed to a greater number later on in his lifetime. But Emrys, as a result of his experience here, went around to various universities in England, Bristol being one, and gave his expertise. They called upon him when they wanted to develop their own drama departments.
That's really exciting. Is that something we should be proud of here in Saskatchewan?
Oh, I think we should be immensely proud of the way the arts have been supported in this province in the past. Not just the drama department, but the Sask Arts Board. That whole thing was part of the Tommy Douglas legacy, along with Medicare. So yeah, very, very proud, I think.
There's something, I don't know, Dwayne, I haven't read your book. I'm going to have to buy it. There's something that I noticed over these years. When I arrived, Dan Nelbeck was department head. He was from the States. Jim, I'm embarrassed, I've forgotten his last name. Dwayne, can you help me? Jim, the costume designer.
Medill, John Medill?
No, John was later. Jim, big Jim, he was a large man. Anyway, he was from the States. Brian Haig, who taught me design and he was technical director, was from UBC, so at least he's Canadian. And I've noticed this, in the 70s, a lot of our upper talent, so to speak, was coming from away. Today, Dwayne, again, correct me, many of the important people at the drama department are Canadian, they're Saskatoon, and they're graduates of the U of S that have then gone on for further education and come back. So 50 years ago, it was, we're learning from people from away. Today, our young people are learning from the graduates of U of S in large measure. I don't know everybody's background. Dwayne, comment on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Most of our professors at the moment, I'd say, no, all of our professors at the moment are Canadian. Not all of them, of course, from Saskatoon. But there was a time not long ago, maybe 10 years ago, when almost every major artistic director in the city and mostly in the province had been a graduate of this department. So yeah, I mean, these people tend to disseminate the craft.
Yes, so something I hadn't realized until moving back to Saskatoon. Saskatoon sort of was in the back of my mind somewhere there, but it didn't get much focus. Dwayne, I think that I may be the first design technician to graduate from the U of S, to go on and work professionally. I spoke with Peter Roberts, you know, the infamous Roberts family.
Sure, yeah.
I spoke with Peter Roberts because I know he was from Saskatoon. I've met him over the years. And I said, Peter, did you graduate from U of S? And he was at U of S in '67. And he said that he took 2 years. He learned stagecraft from Walter Mills. But at that point in the department's history, if you were interested in technical and design, which Peter was, they sent you to U of A or U of C or UBC. So people, technical and production people that did get caught fire here, they were moved off. I think Brian, with Brian Haig and John Medill, who both of them I keep in touch with them. They were the first people to actually be designers that came here, and I was the first, and it was an interesting time.
Interesting story about Peter Roberts. I one time when I started out as an actor, I sent my resume shot to a theater in Vancouver. I think it was the Arts Club, and I never got a call for an audition. But I met Peter in Stratford when I worked there in 1980, and he told me that he had been working at the Arts Club at the time, and he saw my photo come up, and it was so embarrassingly bad that he threw it in the garbage can. He said he did me a favor.
I'm sure
this is a great interview because I really haven't had to ask any questions. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
We just asked each other questions. I haven't seen Rick for a long time. So
well, something I did not know, and I don't think Dwayne knew until a few minutes ago in the pre-show. We are of the same graduating year, but we had very little to do with each other. Dwayne was in Dwayne playwriting academics, and I was technical. So he got the brains and good looks, and I got the table saw.
So that's a really good point, because when I was thinking about this, even as 2 hours ago, and watching the video about it on your website, you think of the Kim Coates that was in the video. You think of, and I think of Jeff Rogstad, who I've worked with at CTV, as a graduate of the program. And I didn't even know that, actually. I've worked for them many years. But then there's the Rick. It's not just the actors. It's a diversified program.
Truly, and I'm amazed. Okay, I speak mostly on the production and design side. I really can't speak to the performers and the directors, but I'm amazed at the fantastic talent that is coming out of the department now. The department, when I was, Dwayne, you'll be able to bear this. When I was at school, when Dwayne was at school, it was quite tumultuous. We had 3 department heads in 3 years, and that changeover was very difficult. The stability that I have perceived of the department over the last 10 or 15 years is wonderful. And I'm going to put in a plug for on the production design side for Carla Oraz. She is really impressive, and she's motivating her young students. They're adults. You know, she's motivating her students to go on in technical and design. And I meet them at Persephone Theatre. I'm a member of the Stagehands Union locally here, and a lot of her graduates are joining the union as well. And there's something else. In the 70s and early 80s, when I was working at Persephone and graduating from the university, we had 3 silos. We had the university as a silo, we had the professional producing companies as a silo, and we had the auditorium, TCU Place now, was a silo. And I was the only one going amongst the 3 silos. Today, those silos are gone. There's a fluidity to the young people are working. They're just as comfortable working at TCU Place as at Persephone, and I think they even go back and stay involved with the university. And to me, for all the instability that we had in the department while I was there, to see that type of stability, and it's grown to encompass the entire city. In point of fact, the silos that were Regina and Saskatoon are coming down as well. There's a lot of interaction between the 2 cities. So it is so gratifying to move back to Saskatoon and to know the snapshot of the city when I was here previously, and to see what's happening now, and the growth, the maturity, and it's because of people like Dwayne that have stayed or gone away and come back, but have stayed all these years. And it's that stability that is fantastic for the department. My personal opinion from observation.
It's wonderful to hear, and we're running out of time, only about 4 or 5 minutes left, but I want to cover some events that are happening around the 75th. I also want to talk to you too about your careers, but before we do that, we have a comment here from a viewer. Looks like it's a former student, Dwayne, would that be right? Ari Avivi is saying that he is taking his skills. So not only do we have the people that do the drama course and continue in the field, but they take the skills they learn in drama and apply them to other vocations.
Oh, yeah. No, lovely to see you, Ari. Thank you for the comment as well. Yeah, Ari was one of my favorite students of all time. Just an amazing actor. So
I believe he's still, I know Ari, and I believe he's still, I don't know if dabbles the right word, he's still involved with improv, but also is working outside that area for, a vocation as well.
Improv, comedy, everything. Yeah.
So I just because I went through the time to actually making this picture, so it actually looks good on TV, I'm going to pop it up, and then I want to talk to you guys about your careers a bit. So this is a photo that came out with the media release promoting the 75th, and it's entitled 4 Students Practicing in 1968. We talked before, you don't recognize the students, but do you recognize the building?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the old hangar building. That's where I started working. That's, of course, where Rick and I both were students. I remember trying to get a parking stall beside the building when I first started working there, and they couldn't do it. They told me the closest stall was about a half a mile away. However, they knocked the building down in 1991, and I got a call the next day, and they said, "We got that parking stall for you now." It was right on top of my old office.
That's a crazy story. Okay, let's shift. Let's talk about what the both of you are up to right now. And let's start, first of all, Dwayne, you're an author.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is one of your books, and I think I saw at least a couple others in your bio that are available. Do you want to talk about your career, where you are, and being an author?
Yeah, no, absolutely I can. I mean, I do spend a lot of time in the drama department directing plays and teaching acting and theater history and so forth. So I have written several books of theater history. This one, Emrys Dream, is a history of the department. One of my favorite kinds of books because it's mostly pictures. It's wonderful. But I also wrote a history of 25th Street Theater called Our Kind of Work. And of late, I've been dabbling in some fiction and playwriting as well. So a novel of about 1917 called, or sorry, of 2017, called New Albion, which is about a theater company in London, in the East End of London in 1851. It was published, as I say, in 2017 by Cato Books. Won a Saskatchewan Book Award for that one. So yeah, that's the author side of me right there.
And right now, when you're not an author?
Oh, right now I'm not an author. I'm teaching in the drama department. I'm just getting ready to
Virtually.
Yeah. Well, this last
that's probably
year.
presented a pile of challenges we haven't even talked into. Probably don't have time to get into either. But,
yeah.
Rick, you're also an author, and you hold, I believe, 2 patents.
Yep, right on all counts. Yes.
And share that with us. What's your book about, and what's your specialty in the patents? That's wonderful.
Well, I ended up delving into counterweight rigging systems, and there were 2 separate events. The patents are to do with counterweight rigging systems, and the book has to do with counterweight rigging systems. And I came to them separately. But what I realized is nobody anywhere has written a history of the counterweight rigging system. Now, when you go past Persephone, or when you go past the TCU place, you'll see the large structure toward the back of the building. That's a fly tower, and the counterweight rigging system is in the fly tower. And not only have nobody written about the counterweight rigging system, we had an oral history that I was taught. When I taught at the university, I taught, and I maintained that. And when I started researching the technology, the story that I believed was wrong. It was totally wrong. And I did a presentation for the Canadian Institute for Theatre Technology on the history, and it was the result was stunning. People were Peter McKinnon from York University and John Maybury from York University described it this way: Rick, you blew our minds. It was just not on anybody's radar. And I'm so pleased and proud and humbled to say I met a university professor in England who said, "Oh, I teach from your book." That's gratifying. That's gratifying.
That's wonderful. That's incredible. And you're right, because from a layperson's perspective, I can say this: you don't hear about the rigging until it fails. And if it's doing its job properly, it's kind of in the background, maybe.
That's right. And I say I wrote an important book that's of interest to 33.5 people.
I'm interested. And in part of my little bit of research, you can call it, I scoped you out on Facebook, and I saw you're posting pictures on your public Facebook profile about different riggings, and that's kind of interesting.
It's my brand.
I have no clue what it is, but it looks interesting.
It's my brand. I spend a lot of time traveling. Of course, COVID has put a temporary stop to that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I apologize. We're into overtime, and we still got to talk a bit about the 75th anniversary celebrations, because they're underway as we speak. And what kind of events can people and/or alumni take part in the next week or so?
Okay, well, we've, as you know, just had Kim Coates delivering our keynote speech on June 1st. I think you can probably see that on a recording on the Drama Department website. Today at 7 p.m. or tonight, this evening, there's going to be a discussion of the first 25 years of the Drama Department. And on Saturday, there's going to be further discussion of the next 25 years of the Drama Department. Next week, we're going to have Barry Brown. We're going to have Dave Stobie, David Mandeville, Greystone Theatre photographers, who are going to be talking about the photography that is attached to Greystone Theatre. And then on Saturday the 12th, we're going to have the period from 1970 to 1995, which is the greatest period, according to Rick and I, in the history of the Drama Department, because that's when we graduated. I'm sure others might take exception to that, but that's going to happen on the 12th of June. And also that evening from 1995 to 2020, bringing us right up to date. And then the week following, we have, of course, a virtual showing of our play, Unity 1918, which is a play about the pandemic, the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, and how it hit a small town in Saskatchewan very hard at that time.
And of course, very appropriate given the times. And all events virtual for now?
All of them virtual, yeah.
Okay. And you can find out more information at the, I call it URL, but I've been told it's a URL that's on the screen right now, artsandscience.usas.ca/drama/anniversary.
That's exactly right. And all of those events are free with the exception of the play, which requires a bit of an entrance fee.
And you can buy the ticket online.
That's correct.
Correct. Rick, Dwayne, I wish we had more time. Thank you so much for the time you've given us. Fascinating. And I think I actually might pick up both of your books because I think it's very interesting.
Well, I do have a couple dozen copies here, and I'm able to provide them at a discounted price.
And I could get it signed?
Oh, yes. But that costs $50. So, just kidding.
Might be worth it. Both of you, thank you so much for sharing the information with us, and maybe we'll be talking to you again at some point.
Pleasure to meet
you. Thank you, Ian.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you so much for that interview, guys. Wonderful. So 75 years this week, I believe, around this time, and the oldest drama department in the Commonwealth. We're going to shift gears now, talk about something a little more serious. With forecast temperature up to 36 Celsius expected for today. There is a heat alert that's been issued by Saskatoon, and Environment Canada has issued a heat warning. These kind of temperatures can make vulnerable conditions for a lot of people in our community. And that's where the Saskatoon Housing Initiatives and Partnership comes in with their severe weather strategy. Joining me now from, I believe it's probably the SHIP offices, is Priscilla Johnstone and Andrea Letting. Priscilla, Andrea, thank you so much for coming. Can you hear me okay? And we can't hear you. We're going to sort out some technical problems here right now as they kind of work on that. So hopefully at some point we're going to actually hear them. Doesn't look like their mic is muted. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, so we'll work on that. Maybe what we'll do as we're kind of waiting for them to sort out the problems is there are a lot of, oh, here we are. I can hear you.
There we go.
Let's pretend that never happened.
Sorry about that. Just
That's
a warm up.
Okay. Priscilla and Andrea, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
As I mentioned, that there is a heat alert and heat warning by Environment Canada here. And you have been tasked with, or you're part of the strategy responding it for providing, I guess, cool down stations and other services. Do you want to share a bit about what's happening when there's a severe heat alert?
Sure, exactly. So currently right now, the Saskatoon Housing Initiatives Partnership, it manages the cold weather strategy during the wintertime, as well as the severe heat, hot weather strategy in the summertime. So as we all know, living in Saskatchewan, there are extreme weathers. In the wintertime, it's so cold, snow, and then in the summertime, we're blasted with extreme heat waves, as well as high humidity. So due to those conditions, back in the summer of 2018, the community partners of the cold weather strategy convened to implement a citywide heat response. So because of those consultations, there was a need and a desire to create an additional strategy called the hot weather strategy. So sorry, forgive me. Just reading some of my notes here at the same time, so I apologize.
The beauty is we can go as long or short as we want, so take your time.
Perfect.
We're here. It's important information that we need to share, I think, with people, especially today.
Yes, thank you. So the strategy is in place from May 1st until September 1st every year.
Okay, that's the severe heat strategy or the...
Yes, sorry.
Right, okay.
Yes, the severe heat strategy is in place from May until September every year. And then at the same time, we have the same strategy in the wintertime, and there's a time frame for that as well. But the principles surrounding the hot weather strategy, sorry about that.
That's okay. We're all in working offices, right?
Yes,
It's all good.
I
You should
apologize.
have waved.
So the principles behind it is the strategy is guided by three following principles. It's to incorporate individual dignity must be respected in every emergency situation. Each person must have access to water and the option to escape extreme hot temperatures in the summer. Everyone is allowed access to designated cooling places such as shelter lobbies, including intoxicated persons or persons previously on a do not admit list from shelters, etc. As well, cool indoor spaces should be available as needed 24 hours a day. Now, the pieces, right now we're in the middle of COVID at the same time, so there are also a lot of barriers surrounding social distancing. So that has caused a lot of different ways of having to mitigate and come up with new ideas to still be able to provide the supports for the vulnerable population of Saskatoon. So our community of Saskatoon has been amazing in regards to the supports that they have done to the population of Saskatoon, specifically during our last cold weather strategy in the wintertime. And I feel now it'll be the same. Saskatoon community is just amazing in regards to their ability to come and help out whenever. So I'm actually proud of the Saskatoon community. So I'll go into just a little bit more on some of the alerts. So there are 4 alerts currently in regards to the heat wave. So with the first alert would be the heat warning. And that would be if the temperatures reach about 30 degrees or greater. Community partners will be encouraged to put a special focus on water bottle distribution and access to cooling locations. The second alert will be distributed through Notify Now by the Emergency Management Organization. And that's when the temperatures reach 32 degrees or greater. And the focus will be on water distribution, and priority will be made for vulnerable individuals accessing an indoor cooling location if needed. And then we go on to the cold weather alert 3A. And those are for temperatures that reach 32 degrees and higher with an overnight not less than 16 degrees Celsius or a humidex of 38 degrees Celsius. Now, level 3 warning focuses will be again on water bottle distribution and access to emergency shelter beds will be provided, including those on a do not admit list. And then there's a level 3B, and that level comes into effect if there's air quality alerts. And that would be in regards to the air quality health index reaches a level of 7 or higher. And that will be determined if an air quality statement is issued by Environment Canada. If criteria is reached for a level B warning, access to emergency shelter beds will be provided, including those on a do not admit list. And then our final level 4 alert is again distributed by Notify Now by Emergency Measures Organization, so EMO through the City of Saskatoon. And those are if the temperatures are higher, and then the air quality health index reaches a level 7, combined with a temperature that reaches above 38 degrees Celsius. In addition, it will be the same circumstance in regards to water distribution as shelter bed access, including those on a do not admit list, and the strategy partners, especially shelter staff, will liaise with the Saskatchewan Health Authority as clients need. So if there are signs and symptoms that an individual is currently experiencing, whether they're cold and clammy or they're feeling sick to their stomach, some of those are all signs of heat stroke. So they will liaise with the medical professionals in regards to getting that individual the medical help that they may need at that time. Now, the purpose of the hot weather alert is to provide all participants with a continuity and operations plan within the existing strategy. The plan provides the structure needed for multiple organizations to coordinate the response to usual circumstances that would reduce the capacity or effectiveness of or more organizations in the provision of designated cooling spaces during the heat waves and the summer month. So at the same time, going back to that screening process, there will be supports through a coordinated effort within the city of Saskatoon and with the emergency response, as well as police if need be. So individuals can call. If somebody needs to call, they can call us here at SHIP. They can call Mobile Crisis. They can call the police. They can call any of the shelters. If you were to look on our website, a list of all community organizations that are part of the hot weather strategy will be listed, and any of those numbers you can contact if somebody in the community is needing help and support. Yes, thank you. There is the list of cool down locations. So one other piece that I wanted to mention, we're also supporting our community organizations with water during this time. So we have been storing water here at SHIP, and then our community partners would just call and we would deliver water for them. But if anyone within the community wants to assist in any way, they can get in touch with us. I think my number will be available, myself as well as Andrea, our numbers will be available. And we can coordinate any type of donation or questions, or to assist anyone in regards to if they want to help and support in some way. We could coordinate that and navigate that. Anything that I miss, please, Andrea.
You can also reach us on our social media, so on the Facebook page and the Twitter, if that's easier to reach out in terms of water donation. And you know, Ian, you had mentioned you're in Caswell Hill, and you have reached out, and we encourage everybody to just be good neighbors and reach out. If you see somebody that's thirsty, you can offer them water. You know, that's
Absolutely.
The least we could do for each other. So yeah.
With temperatures like today, it is a very serious thing, and you're right, we have to look after each other. If I were to summarize, so basically it sounds to me like that there's a phased response that you have based on just how severe the weather is, and it's really interesting that you actually take into consideration as well the air quality. And I can think of situations in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan where it's been hot and we've had poor air quality because of forest fires, you know, either here or in Alberta or wherever. So that's wonderful that happens. I kind of picked up that you distribute water. Are you looking for donations of water as well?
Yes, we would accept donations from individuals if they want to donate to a specific organization and they can't get a hold of that organization. They can contact us and we can coordinate and get them in touch with an organization that needs water during this time. And I think today is going to be the extreme of the heat wave. I believe tomorrow and going into the weekend, the temperature will be a little cooler. And I think as well, there might be some chances of thunder showers this evening as well due to the extreme weather.
Right.
So just things to be cautious and, you know, mindful of.
What level are we at today, or do you expect that we'll be at today in the plan?
3A.
I don't think there's a lot of 3A. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's not. Last time I checked, there wasn't really a lot of humidex, was there?
No, it's pretty dry right now. So it's more so the UV is 9. So
right.
it's hot, and 36 is it's right up there, right? It's getting close to 40, and it's very hot out there. Even when I came in this morning, it was only 24, and you wanted to be in the shade.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. Like you mentioned, live in Caswell Hill. We're fortunate we have 2 big elm trees which shelter our house, so it's still okay, but it does get hot by the end of the day. I got to tell you, my dog is not liking it at all. She's in the basement. She'll probably be there most of the day. The other thing in the plan that caught my attention was to provide these places with dignity. And the other part is that people may be on a you can't be in here list for whatever reasons, that this is a safety issue. You can come today. And I like that. Anything to add to that?
you want to?
I think one thing we need to be aware of too. I mean, you know, a lot of people on the streets have gone through a lot of trauma, and so that includes, of course, residential schools. And right now, everybody that survived residential schools or been impacted by them is particularly triggered with the finding of those 215 in BC, and so many more. Thousands of people have been impacted by the residential schools, and so we just ask for people to express that extra care, compassion, and kindness to people who are not only suffering from that, but then doubly impacted by the heat and the longer days and the sleeping conditions and everything else. So I think that's really what we want to be people to be aware of, that people who are homeless are not homeless because they're bad people. They're homeless because they've been traumatized by a colonial system that has impacted us all, right? And so we just need to take care of one another. Really, that's the message, with dignity, with kindness, with compassion, with love, you know. And if you have more, then give back, right? So.
Oh, absolutely. Very, very valid points, and thank you for sharing them. Scrolling along the bottom are some of the locations that are available for cool down. I took the liberty of dividing them in kind of 24 hours, places with limited hours, and also food and water distribution. So they've been changing as well. One thing I've seen, I can't remember if it was in the cold weather policy or the warm weather, but or whether it's from a different city, but I recall seeing that the other possibility is, if you're in distress, so you can flag down a city bus. And is that part of the strategy?
So they do that in the winter time.
Right. Okay.
So that's part of the cold weather strategy. So this particular strategy is a little bit different. There are some numbers. So part of the strategy, I think it's Appendix D. There are locations. Forgive me, I've misplaced my papers.
That's all right.
So in essence, there are numbers that individuals can call. So if somebody is close to a community organization, all they have to do is to enter into that organization, and they will assist them and help them in regards to transportation of where they need to go. At the same time, if somebody is close to us here at the Station 20 West location, they can come in and we can provide bus tickets for them if they need to go somewhere across town. So we provide that here for ourselves. And some of our community organizations do the same thing. It would just be a matter of an individual coming in and asking for that piece.
Gotcha. It's hot out there. Take care of each other. Take advantage of the cooling locations if you need to. Before I let you go, you want to talk a bit about SHIP and other projects that you're involved in?
Sure. So my role, I am the Homelessness Action Plan Manager, and Andrea is our newest employee. She is our Communications Manager. So a variety of the programs that we're doing right now. So we are the Reaching Home federal government homelessness strategy community entity. So we provide funding to community organizations that are working with homeless people to have them rehoused, help them with service provision of all sorts, whether they're having issues with addictions, mental health, or they just need help finding permanent housing. So we provide that funding piece through the part of the Reaching Home homelessness strategy. At the same time, we also work very closely with the City of Saskatoon with the Homelessness Action Plan, as well as the Saskatoon Community Plan to End Homelessness. So we're involved with a variety of community initiatives to try and eradicate, or I shouldn't say try, to eradicate homelessness within Saskatoon. So we have multiple organizations that we work with and we partner with on strategies on how to work with our homelessness population. At the same time, we've also recently established some partnerships with the Residential School Survivors Group because 85% of our homelessness population, based on a 2018 PIT count, are of Indigenous descent. So because of that high number of Indigenous persons, we believed here at SHIP that the best initiative to move forward is to have a better understanding from an Indigenous perspective and have that partnership and how we can collaborate collectively moving forward in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. So we're very strong partners there. We've got a lot of work that's underway right now. At the same time, we're also working towards functional zero homelessness by 2027, 2028. So we've got a lot of initiatives underway that we are trying to do everything we can so that we do have end homelessness, and we don't have to if there are people that do enter into situations where they are homeless, that those situations are few and far between. At the same time, Medicine Hat recently just declared end homelessness in their location. So they've been able to rapidly rehouse their population there. And that's an assistance as well with, affordable housing and housing stock. But that they had a huge media release yesterday. So fingers crossed that SHIP and the community of Saskatoon can also be in a position that, similar to that we could actually end homelessness here for Saskatoon.
Very important work, vital for our community. Priscilla, Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, if you're finding yourself struggling with the heat, or you see people struggling with the heat, get them water, check on them. And of course, worst case scenario, I guess, if somebody's in medical distress, you can call 911. Thank you again so much for the work. We really appreciate it. Maybe we'll check in with you as the summer goes on. If you have water, people can donate the water. You're able to accept that. Is there a place that they could drop it off?
Yes, our address is 1120 20th Street. It's Station 20 West. We are upstairs on the second floor in number 201. At the same time, people can access our website at www.shipweb.ca. Yes, correct, there at the bottom of the screen. At the same time, they can call us at 979-6706, and we can answer any questions that anyone needs within the community in regards to how they can help out or support.
Thank you, both of you, again for joining us. Stay cool out there today. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you.
That's it for Coffee Break YXE today. Remember, check on your neighbors, check on your pets, check on people in your neighborhood. Make sure that everybody's staying cool in the heat today. I want to remind you that coming up at 12:15 today is Sportsline YXE with Linda Walker. She's going to be talking to Ontario-based journalist and how would you also describe, I guess, a hockey manager? Kind of two hats. Chris Dawson out of North Bay, Ontario, are going to talk about how minor hockey has coped through the pandemic in Ontario, as well as what he's done in his role as a manager of a team, the Powassan Voodoos, there in Ontario. Tonight at 7 o'clock is the game show with yours truly. I'm not sure if I should leave my makeup on until 7 o'clock tonight, but remember, In Focus YXE is on tonight at 7 o'clock. That's the game show where we show you blurry pictures around Saskatoon, and you comment if you think you know where they are in the comments, and not the first person this week. And if you're right, we'll tell you people you're right, and you get bragging rights that you knew the photo. And at the end of the evening, we'll draw a prize based on anybody who's commented for the show, and you'll win a great prize. I think it's a great prize. That's it for Coffee Break YXE. We're back next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Really appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you tonight at 7. We'll see you at 12:15 with Linda Walker. And as I look for the closing video, bye for now.